Hi. Okay, I'm still at 219 today, and it's the third day in a row. But there's a reason for that. I think the most important one is that I had more sodium. Um, yeah. I discussed with someone else about doing snake juice, and I never really got around to buying it. It sounded good. When I checked out the videos, the guy who does it, his name I can't remember, but he does like a snake diet thing. He no longer recommends putting apple cider vinegar and lemon juice in with the snake water anyway. So it's closer to what I was doing. I mentioned before adding salts in, and I stated incorrectly that magnesium and potassium are both kind of trace. That's not true. And I was thinking that sodium was more important than potassium, but they're both actually very important. Magnesium is less important. It is more trace. And also, I guess your body does hold on to it. Okay. And I knew this back in the day about potassium and sodium both being about equally important, but I had forgotten that. But the salt that I've always had in my house is actually Morton Lite salt. Because when I did low carb, I learned pretty soon that potassium is a problem. You don't get much potassium in low carb. So I switched to this a long time ago. So anytime I add salt, or I say I'm eating salt or putting salt to your tongue, there's someone else who's doing the salt under the tongue trick, which is what I was doing at first, but that gets kind of old. This is the salt that I have. This is the only salt I buy in my house. And let me tell you, I think you see, this can was like $1. It's actually still almost full because I just used up one a while ago. This one is the new label. So if you buy it in a store now, you'll see this. The old one, it used to be for about $1. Now it's up to like $2.50. And what it is pretty much a mix between half sodium and half potassium. So sodium is 290 milligrams and the potassium is 350 milligrams. It also is 40% iodine, so you don't get a goiter. There's a reason they put iodine in salt, and so if you're buying natural sea salt without iodine, I don't know how long it takes to get a goiter, but that could be an issue. A friend of mine currently got one. She started to switch to really, really healthy foods, all natural, didn't add any salt, any iodine, and she got a goiter. So if you're trying to eat really, really healthy, do keep in mind that iodine is actually important. People used to get goiters. They're huge lumps in your throat. They're not good. In addition, it also has some potassium. It has sodium, potassium, calcium. It has some calcium, magnesium. It has a very small amount of dextrose. Now, it's 0 carbs and 0 calories, so I think it's used as an anti-caking agent. Dextrose is sugar, but it's very trace. It's a very trace amount. It doesn't taste sweet. It doesn't add to the flavor. It's just, I think it must be added in as an anti-caking agent. And you know that about salt, right? You put salt in a salt shaker and it can clump. You can do various things to keep that from happening. Like you can add rice to the bottom because it absorbs the moisture from the air and it clumps. So that tiny bit of dextrose is not going to affect anything. It is just an anti-caking agent. But if you're, if that's like too impure or something like that, you could go for something else. But this is from your store. Every grocery store has it. $2.50, and it has the potassium and the sodium in it. Now, because I'm not into I have to have everything be super duper pure, I'm just basically 0 calorie liquids. I'll still drink black coffee. I'll drink a diet soda. I'm just fine with those. A lot of long-term successful fasters who do this stuff a lot are okay with that sort of thing. It's just not worth flipping out over. I've been putting it in Gatorade Zero, right? And this is also 0 calories. It says carbs less than 1. It makes me a little nervous on that, but at most it would have 3 calories in this bottle. I mean, there's not going to be very much. It also has a small amount of sodium and potassium. What I like about the Powerade Zero, well, for one thing, it's on sale right now for 50 cents for a jar. It also has 15% niacin, 15% of your daily, of your daily vitamin B12, and 15% of your daily vitamin B6. So these are things that vitamin B12 and vitamin B6 are things that actually can become a problem on long-term fasts. Eventually you run into problems with iron. You would get anemic, but in 40 days, if you start off healthy, you'd probably be okay. The vitamin B12 can go down faster and it can cause an energy loss. That's why these drinks are made. They replenish people when they work out, and these are things that your body uses fast, right? So when you're on a fast, these are things that you do need to replenish. That's what they're made for. They're too low in salts for fasting. I mean, you would have to drink a ton of these to get enough salts in by themselves. But what I did was add, actually at first, because I just seen the snake juice video and I was going by his numbers, I added 2 teaspoons of this to here. I think it's too much. I'm going to go down to 1 teaspoon. And the reason is 2 teaspoons is, this is, okay, 290, about 300 milligrams for a quarter teaspoon. So that's 1,200 milligrams for a teaspoon, 2,400 milligrams for 2 teaspoons. I don't think you need that much sodium when you're fasting. I could be wrong, but I think 1,200 milligrams of sodium is likely enough. And for now, I'm going to go with that lower end. That's going to be 350 times 4, 1,500 milligrams of potassium. I think you could double that. I think you could do the 2 teaspoons. I'll do 1 per day. I want to mention too, my headache, since yesterday I did drink, I made this up. I added 2 teaspoons to one of these, but I only drank half of it yesterday. So I only did have the 1 teaspoon. And my headache is completely gone. I've had a slight headache, just a slight one the whole time, despite adding at least a little bit of sodium and a little potassium, likely not enough. But I added in the whole 2 teaspoons, drank 1 of that, so I had a whole teaspoon, and it is gone now. Like completely gone. So I do think that this is the reason I didn't lose weight again, because I did add sodium, I did add salts and potassium, but I was adding maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon, like very little. I went up to a full teaspoon, and yeah, like I said, the headache's completely gone. But that would be the reason for the stall also, because if you take in more salts, your body's going to be less dehydrated and have more water in it, but you also feel better. So for long-term fasting, makes sense. Keep your water in that your body needs. Feel good during the fast. For a short-term fast, 3 to 5 days, it won't matter so much if you have your salts. Your body can just deal with the hypotonic conditions and the fact that it has to be dehydrated. It's not good. I wouldn't even really recommend it for that, except for weigh-ins. It's not good, but you can get through it if you're trying to do, even an 18-day fast, but 20, 30, 40 days. That makes really no sense. You're going for fat loss or something else, not dehydration, to get out every bit of water from your body. So anyway, that's really what I want to talk about today, was the sodium thing. And I did check out snake juice. At this time, I'm not going to add lemon juice. Even the guy said it's really just an optional thing. And the apple cider vinegar, they have a little bit of calories. I just don't think it's necessary to add them right now. I did look up scurvy, because I don't know, somehow I got in this conversation with somebody. Scurvy can start at about 28 days. So if you're going to do a 40-day fast, you may want to look into adding a bit of lemon juice or some other vitamin C into your fast. But the beginning of scurvy isn't so bad. It's when it goes on for longer periods that scurvy becomes, deadly. So I don't think for an 18-day fast, I really have to worry about vitamin C. I'll just make sure that in the 5-day refeeding that I do get vitamin C in. And I'll probably take a daily multivitamin during that time to replenish everything. So that's it for today. Bye.